Good morning, good morning. Have you ever set a career goal that you've actually achieved, that actually came to fruition? Well, if you're like over 90% of the people I talk to, the answer to that is a big fat no. I'm James Foster and careers matter. Well, this is my third in the series of planning your career for 2021, how to plan a successful career for 2021. And today I'm talking primarily about mindset, because the reason why people's goals don't get achieved is because they don't have the mindset to achieve them. Simple, really, isn't it? If you've set a goal that's attainable, that is something that you believe in, that's something that you really want, and that you've got the real motivation to go in and do, and that you maintain your mindset to deliver it, it will happen. Or it will more likely happen. You'll certainly get a lot closer to achieving it than most people, because when most people set goals, they just put a number at the end of a year or something like that. So it's sort of like saying, I want to be a senior project manager. I'm a project manager. I want to be a senior project manager. That's my goal for the year, is to attain the position of senior project manager. That's the goal, and you put it up there, and you even write it on a big sheet, and you stick the big sheet on your computer so that every day you see that you want to be a senior project manager, and that's the last you think about it. The big sheet's there, but you don't look at it, and you don't even contemplate how you're going to get to be a senior project manager. Yesterday and the day before, on Monday, we looked at the last year and what you'd managed to attain for the last year. So one of the lessons that I would draw out of that process is, why didn't I achieve what I wanted to achieve? What was it that was missing? What was it that I could have done better to make sure that I got on top of it? And that comes into the thinking that we've just been talking about here for this year. And then yesterday we were talking about, what was it? When have you actually got to where you want to get to? Have you actually achieved in your life what you wanted to achieve now? And the whole idea of that was that most people are really disappointed with what they've got to so far. So now we come on to actually the mindset, which is the problem with all of this. The reason why we didn't get it last year was because we didn't really have the mindset, the motivation, the drive to see it through. And the reason why we're not where we want to be right now, good morning, Angela, is because we haven't had the mindset to get us to where we want to be right now. So looking then at your goal for next year. We talked yesterday, didn't we, about looking at things in five areas, or circa 5 areas. It will change depending for the particular individual, but I suggested that maybe we looked at things like, where do you want your career, where do you want your life, your relationships, your health, your fitness, etc., etc. Here's the question, and it's a very interesting question because there is no single answer to it, and the question is why. Why do you want to be fitter next year? So if you don't know the answer to that, you won't get fitter. If you do not know why you want your fitness levels to increase and really understand what that's going to mean for you and really buy into it, then your fitness levels won't go up. Chances are they'll go down. Why do you want to be healthier? Same question. It's going to be the same question for all of them. Why do you want your career to proceed from, or to move from, let's say again, because I've used the example already, from a project manager to a senior project manager? What is it? Why is it you want that to happen? No, and until you actually understand that basic principle, that you have to understand why you want to do something, there has to be a clear motivation, then you won't ever have the drive, you won't ever have the impetus to see it through. It just won't happen because there is no motivation for it. Why then? And I talked to, I think it was probably 2 weeks ago, I talked about the whole process of asking why. And I talked about a chap called Dean Graziosi, whose book I've read. His book is Millionaire Success Habits, and in there he talks about exploring your why by asking the question 7 times. So you start with, why do I want to be a senior project manager? Well, I want to be a senior project manager because I want to earn money. That's the first time. The second time, well, why do you want to earn more money? What's driving you to want to earn more money? Well, I want to earn more money because I want to see my life enabled to do more things like blah, blah, blah. Well, why do you want your life to attain those, to be able to, etc., etc.? And you drill down and you drill down. And the first 3 or 4 answers that you give are usually materialistic. And then when you get down to the levels 5, 6, 7, that sort of, then you're starting to talk much more about what's actually driving you personally. This is really starting to dig into your own soul, effectively, into your psyche, and really understanding what is motivating you. It's an exercise I've done several times, and it's an exercise that you probably should do every time you come to sit down and do your goals, is really ask the same question. You'll probably come up with the same answer why. You know, the answer for me is that I want to actually see myself get to a level that I never thought I possibly could. I haven't believed in my own ability to be the success that I really wanted to be. I've always put a glass ceiling on what I could achieve, and I want to smash through that glass ceiling, and actually break out the other side and demonstrate to more myself than anybody else that I could do it. I've always been the one that's had the false belief, the belief that said that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't capable of doing it, and that's my why, is to drive through that glass ceiling and push myself onto the next level. And that you know, it's that emotional level that will actually give you the impetus, the motivation, the drive to do it. So let's move that back to that idea of belief, and what often holds people back is false beliefs. What often holds people back from getting from where they are now to where they want to believe, where they want to be, is the idea that they're not good enough to do it, that there are better people than them to do it, that, you know, to take people on that journey, that they're not as good as somebody else. This is going on in my mind at the time, was I was looking through, it was Instagram, when I was looking at people, you know, how many people there are doing similar sorts of things to what I was doing. And I was looking at what was on their Instagram sites, and I'm thinking, why are they getting more followers than me? I've only just started going through Instagram. I'm not going to have tens of thousands. But well, how come other people are managing to increase their levels of following more than me? And it's sort of, oh, they must be better. They must be doing something, that what they're doing is better than me, and it's not. There's all sorts of reasons why they may be getting more followers than me at the moment, and none of them is because they're better. Because I've looked at the material that they're doing, and I know that the material that I'm producing is better than their material. It is going to be more effective, shall we say. What's better for one person, it may not be better for another, but it would be more effective because I know what works. And so, and that's what people do, is they look at others and they compare themselves uh, from their own perspective in a negative way. And so they're saying, so you're saying about yourself, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, I am not capable. And that's the first belief that you have to really deal with. You have to believe, you have to know that you are capable. You have to know that what you're doing is worthy. You have to know that you have got what it takes to get yourself to where you need to get to. You want to be a senior project manager? What's been holding you back so far from being a senior project manager? Is it just that it's through process of time you've not managed to get there yet? It's in other words, you've only just really started as a project manager and you've got to put the time in at that. That's fair enough. But have you been a project manager and wanted that jump to senior project manager and it's not happened? Why hasn't it happened? The chances are it's self-belief and self-doubt. It's not ability. It's not capability. You've been holding yourself back more than other people have been holding you back. Almost certainly that will be the case, because what other people do that pushes them on in their career that you're not doing is they drive themselves, is they go out and they get hold of it, and they've got the belief that says, I'm capable of doing this, I can do it. So they take on the work that's going to get them recognised and noticed, and they and they don't hold back from promoting themselves. They don't hold back from demonstrating their abilities. That's not all it is, of course. That's a part of the answer. But what the point is, that those people that are pushing through and getting to that next level, they have that mindset, they have that belief in themselves. They know that they are capable. They know that they deserve it. Sometimes there are people that push through like that don't deserve it, but they usurp the position. That's another matter. We're not talking about that type of behaviour. What we're talking about here is people that really have got the ability and capability. So do you. You just have to believe in it. And if you don't have the capability yet, you then have to get the capability. And that's a matter of understanding what capability you have and what capability you need, and bridging that gap. And that's simple. That's training. That's training and experience, and getting that experience and making sure you put yourself in the position to get that experience. So it's doing what's necessary. We're talking about planning tomorrow. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but what I'm trying to do here is get into the mind, into the mindset, the mindset that says there's nothing that can stop you from doing it if you really want to do it. You just have to know what it is you've got to do to get there. A word that I hear so often from motivational groups like the Graciosi's is imposter syndrome, that you feel like you're an imposter. That comes more, so that's not so much of a career thing, I think. So if you want to get to a next level of your career, just sort of going from a project manager to a senior project manager, the imposter syndrome starts coming when you're looking at maybe what you could regard as a quantum leap in your career. I want to go from being a senior project manager to a project director, somebody that's going to actually run the line management for a number of project managers, etc., etc. That's when you start really doubting yourself and your ability, and that's when imposter syndrome starts to creep in, because then you feel that you haven't, that you're imposing, you're imposturing on that position, that you don't, how are people going to believe in me? How are people going to follow what I'm showing them to do? How can I mentor people and that sort of thing? Then the imposter syndrome creeps in. And the imposter syndrome, again, it's it's one of those things in the mindset that just has to be worked through. You just have to believe in yourself. Why are you capable? These chats that I give in a morning, why am I a person that can actually do this? Why can I sit here and provide advice? It's because I've got years of experience within the recruitment industry and building my own teams, and so much more. I mean, I've been working in my working life for 40 years at various different things, so I've got experience, and that experience is what I'm bringing to bear on this. And I've got the, where I don't have the knowledge, I go and learn it. I go and get that capability. So if I start thinking I want to do a particular subject and I don't know what I'm going to talk about, then I go and research it. And by doing the right research, I don't feel that I'm, that when I'm sitting in front of this camera, I'm giving you a bad deal. Because all I'm trying to do is try to give you the basic information that's going to get you to where you want to get yourself. So there's no, so I've managed to deal with the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome that why is anybody going to listen to me? Well, you can listen to me or not listen to me. At the end of the day, I know that what I'm telling you is going to add value to your career. I know it. I know it because I've got lots of experience. And it's this belief in yourself. It's this belief in your abilities. It's this belief in your processes. It's this belief in your system. It's this belief that you are able to take people to the next level if that's what you're doing, or you're able to take yourself to the next level, that you're capable to do that job. If you don't have that belief, guess what? You won't do it. And the last thing I want to talk about is fear. It's the second to last thing I want to. I've just seen another note there, but the last thing in mindset I want to talk about is fear. We are all afraid of something. Doesn't matter what you do, there is going to be fear. It comes with the territory. If you're going to be putting yourself into a challenging situation, if you want to take yourself to another level, if you want to build your career, if you want to take your life forward, then you're going into the unknown, the uncertain, and you're opening up ground that you've not been in before, and that's fearful. That's scary stuff. It's going to be scary for anybody. There's nothing wrong with fear. So there's a mistake I see in a lot of these sort of posts that come out that talk about fear holding us back, and the idea is it is that fear is holding us back to some extent, but what we've got to understand is that fear is going to be there anyway. You can't eliminate the fear. And that's the mistake people are making, is to think that you can eliminate the fear. You can't. Fear is going to be there. It's what you do about it. Lots of things you can do about fear in terms of education, in terms of getting the knowledge, in terms of getting people help you. There's lots of practical suggestions that will help you to deal with the fear. But at the end of the day, the only thing that you can do is to push on through. If you hold yourself back through fear, you'll just constantly be held back by that fear. If you allow fear to dictate terms, shall we say, then you're going to lose. You've simply got to accept it, understand that it's part of what you are, and do it anyway. And that's called courage. And courage is what drives people to attain their goals despite their fears. When you look at people getting awards for bravery, a lot of them just turn around and said, I just did it because I was able to do it, I could do it. Everybody else is looking on and going, that was an incredible feat of bravery. But to the person concerned, they didn't see it that way, not at the time. They just acted despite the fact it was a scary thing to go and do. They just acted and did it because it had to be done. And that's exactly what the situation is when you're looking at getting your own life to that next level. It's a scary thing to do, but it has to be done if you're going to get there. So have the courage to see it through and make it happen. And the very, very final thing that I want to say for this morning is one of the big mistakes people make is they aim too high. And there is an argument that says the higher you aim, the higher you'll reach, and I understand that, and that's a perfectly good argument. But what I don't want people doing is aiming so high that they can't possibly get anywhere close to that target, and therefore when it comes to looking at what they are actually attaining, they are demotivated by their results. If you get demotivated by your results, then you lose the energy, you lose the impetus, and you don't move yourself forward. So make sure that your goals are challenging but manageable, is what I would say. So, I would like, let's give you a really stupid example. I was talking yesterday about me running. If I set my goal I'd have to go back a few years to have a realistic chance of this. If I set my goal to be able to run a marathon in, say, 3 hours, and the reality of it is that I have never been able to pace myself at anything close to a 3 hour marathon run. So what would be the point doing it? 4 hours is a good target for me. If I wanted to run a marathon back in the day, because I wouldn't run a marathon now, if I wanted to run a marathon back in the day, then I would be setting myself the target of 4 to 4.5 hours, which is realistic for me. That's a realistic. If I did that, it would be a challenge to get to it, but if I'd got to it, I'd have been very happy to have got to it. That's the point. Is that, sorry, the light just went out. If it just went dark at your end, that's the point. If your goals aren't achievable, if they are just too far-fetched, you're going to be demotivated by it. If I'd have tried setting myself the goal of running a marathon in 3 hours, I'd never ever get anywhere close to it. So there'd be no point. It's you just have to know what your own capabilities and abilities are and work within those. Well, if I managed to get to 4.5 hours or 4 hours, then I could maybe start talking about targets of 3 hours something. But get to something that's attainable first, and then push your goal that little bit higher. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but I'm not that type of an athlete. I'm not that sort of person that can run those sorts of times. And understanding that, and understanding what you are fit for and capable of doing, is a very, very important part of setting achievable, attainable goals. And once you've done that, and once you've adjusted your mindset accordingly, then things will start moving forward in your life. Quite a long one this morning, sorry about that. Tomorrow I'm going to start talking about planning. We've actually started talking about planning, but we're actually going to talk about breaking down the goals and looking at them in detail tomorrow, how you're going to actually get to the point that you want to get to. So this is James Foster, and Careers Matter.